And we are back. Welcome to episode 2 of the Vaquero Insider. And starting off, as always, Andre is going to go over a quick disclaimer that we have before the start of every show. But we have a lot coming up for you guys this episode. We have a lot of updates, campus updates, and updates over the past weekend. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hand the floor over to Andrea to give our routine disclaimer.
Of course. The views and opinions expressed on the Vaquero Insider podcast are those of us as host and guest and do not reflect the official stance of the Student Government Association as a whole. We are sharing our own personal perspectives and ideas as senators, and our discussions are intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Awesome. And now, with that being said, we can go over what happened this past Friday. A lot happened regarding SGA, and I guess I'll go ahead and start it off. We had our graduating ceremony for our senators who are unfortunately leaving us. One of those senators being one of my close friends, David. I know Jose Tavares as well, and Kayla White. There was numerous senators that were graduating, so it was nice to give them a good send off, a good farewell for all their service that they've done for the organization and the student body as a whole. Also, another interesting thing that happened, we did have the SGA Awards, and well, I guess I could say it now. I ended up winning Outstanding Senator, so I'm really proud of that, and I'm really proud of all of my senators who nominated me for the award. And of course, like I said during the speech I gave, it was a team effort, so I'm just looking forward to continuing the great work. Other awards were given out as well, such as Outstanding Chair, Outstanding Mentor of the Year as well, and I believe also Outstanding Intern. And now, with that being said, it was a pretty packed Friday, right, Andrea? So after we had the graduating ceremony and the award ceremony, we did have our interns graduation, and I'm gonna go ahead and hand the floor over to you to kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was a pretty, and like I mentioned, I know we mentioned the interns a few times during this podcast. It was a very, in a way, sad moment for all of us, and even us as mentors. We let the interns know this was also a learning experience for us. So we kind of also we started taking pictures of them. It was, it was quite a thing. So I actually did want to shout out every single intern that had graduated from this program. We were very proud of them. So I want to start off with obviously our FYI director Christopher de la Cruz, and then these are going to be all the interns that graduated from the program. They were 9, and this is Briseida Ramos, Diana Tames, Edgar Bello, Edgar Benitez, Eduardo Bello, Jose Jimenez, Mateo Garza, Trey Cepeda, and Victoria Herrera. And I do want to give a special shout out to Diana Tames, who is my intern who actually won Outstanding First Year Intern. And oh goodness, that felt so good.
I was so happy when I heard that it was your intern, but my heart broke a little bit.
Of course.
I was rooting for my intern, of course, but at the end of the day, I think what's important is that they all learned something and they did an amazing job during their mock Senate meeting. They even presented their legislations, their ideas they had for the student body. They were all amazing. I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing them being continued to work on and even implemented here at the university. But shout out to your intern, Andrea. This was your first year as a mentor, and in your first year as a mentor, you had an outstanding intern. That's a cool flex, if you ask me.
Yeah, and I remember I was telling all of them, like, is it okay if I post you on the on the senator page? And they all said yes. And I had told her when she had won, you taught me a lot about myself as a leader, and she looked kind of surprised. And I said, this was a two-way thing.
Yeah.
Like, I teach you, you teach me. And I was telling everyone, I'm proud of just every intern in general, and hopefully we'll get to see them as senators next semester.
I know a
Hopefully.
good amount of them expressed interest in joining SGA next semester, so I told my intern, I know you were my intern this semester, but next semester you're going to be my peer. And so we're going to work on a
Aw.
lot of cool legislation, and we're going to learn together and we're going to work together, most importantly. And with that being said, I also want to shout out to our now 3-time Mentor of the Year, Jose Tavares. He is a graduating senator, but he wanted to go out like a champ. And
And he
so
did.
it's his third time winning Mentor of the Year, and I want to say this is like his third semester mentoring. I think he's won every single semester.
And yeah,
Uh,
it's one after the other after the other.
yeah,
They were
he's
very
just been
consecutive.
incredible. So it was glad to see him get the recognition he deserved. And with that being said, is there anything you want to touch on either the intern graduation or the SGA graduating ceremony, or even the awards ceremony as well.
Yeah, the award ceremony, I kind of just wanted to touch on it very quickly just to go like one after the other. So obviously, Mr. Schuyler here won Outstanding Senator. Good job. And then, like you said, followed by Outstanding Mentor, Jose Tavares, Outstanding Intern, Diana Tames, and Outstanding Chair was Senator Raj Niketia, which she is just coming in right after the elections. She serves the Committee for Financial Affairs. She came in brand new and just killed it this semester. Like really, she really has blown us away, especially with the volunteer experience that she has had during the past semester. So we are really proud of her, and especially all the people that won within their respective awards.
So, just a final shout out to every single senator that's graduating, that won an award, and all of our interns that were graduating as well. And with that being said, we're going to go into a quick music break, and then we're going to go into probably, I want to say it's the most favorite segment, is the campus updates. I know everyone likes to hear about what's been going on with the university. So, when we come back, we have a lot to cover over last week's events and also this week's events as well. And we'll cover all that when we come back. And welcome back. And so, this segment, of course, as always, we go over campus updates and what's been taking place in the UTRGV student life. And I actually want to start off by last week. I do know a very hot topic were the elections that were happening here, the presidential elections, and all the other races that were taking place. As you know, UTRGV has had a voting locations, and so the university was actually a very active spot for voting during election day. I know a lot of students, a lot of people wanted to vote here at the university. I think I want to say that there were even lines up to 11:30 p.m. that were taking place. So that was good to see that people were getting involved, and it's always good when people come to UTRGV for whatever purpose it may be. And with that being said, it actually leads us into our next point here is, as you know, this week is actually UTRGV's Week of Valor. So every year, UTRGV has the Week of Valor where they honor student veterans and veterans of this country by putting on various amounts of events throughout the week. In fact, the first event took place today, earlier today in the morning. It's called Cup of Joe, where it was actually hosted by SVA, the Student Veterans Association, and SGA. So they collaborated on this event where they kind of kicked off the Week of Valor by giving coffee, right, so that veterans can enjoy a nice coffee in the morning. And there's going to be tons of other events taking place this week. If you want to see all the events that took place this week or that are taking place this week, if you go to UTRGV Students and you search up Senator Schuyler, I actually posted the whole entire schedule for this week. That way, if you are a veteran or you know someone that is a veteran, you can take them to these events and you all can go ahead and enjoy this week. And of course, it's Veterans Day today, so happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans. And Andrea, do you kind of want to speak a little bit about what Veterans Day means to you and how you feel about UTRGV hosting the Week of Valor?
Well, it's obviously an expression of gratitude, and obviously that it is a very small thing compared to what they did. And actually, when I got into Instagram today, all of the UTRGV organizations, something like the Career Center, student engagement, they were all posting about it. And actually, I wanted to let everyone know that through the UTRGV students on Facebook, they want to start a thread where they're going to post UTRGV veterans as well as their families. So in case you want to post, I think they already started it. It's been going on for an hour. I know that some pictures were already taken. So if you happen to be a veteran or maybe one of your family members was, you're more than welcome to post it. And yeah, again, it's all about expressing gratitude within all the postings, and it's just a very small thing compared to what they fought for.
Yeah, so once again, thank you to all of our veterans. Happy Veterans Day and enjoy this week. And now for our next update, I actually want to go into a recent, it started last week, but it's even been happening this week. And this is an initiative taken by a student named Kylie Torres. And so this student, I've been following this story for about a week now, and it started off with this student kind of expressing the need for menstrual products on campus, right? She was arguing that it's a necessity and that the university needs to do a little bit more as far as distributing it. So, to my knowledge, what this student started, it started off with a post, right? Kind of going on a project called the End Period Poverty Project. And so, throughout the week, she's been, I've seen posts where she's even been putting menstrual products herself, right? She's been packing them herself in her own home, and she started to distribute them or place them in women's restrooms on campus. And so after about a few days of doing that, it got a lot of attention. And so the latest update I have is that she was actually able to have a conference call, and now UTRGV is recognizing menstrual products as a necessity now. And so now it's going to be monitored by the university to make sure that they have products right in the women's restroom so that women can be able to use those products whenever they are needed. Obviously, Andre, I know this topic hits a little bit more closer to home to you than to me. So, do you kind of want to speak on the project and what it means to you, and maybe what you would like to see it do going forward?
Yeah, and actually, as you were mentioning that, there was a new update just a few minutes before we had started this podcast. So, it's obviously Monday. She started restocking, and I believe she said in the video, because she's actually posting videos about it, starting around 5 in the morning, that she's actually stocking these products. And I know that there has been distribution on campus with these things, but a lot of the things they don't talk about is the actual restock of the products. And she was she was being very specific about the products that she was putting in. She was not being uh I don't think stingy is the right word, but it wasn't just one specific product. There were at least three different types. So, and also she is a chief of staff for IFSO. So IFSO is very involved in this project, and I actually wanted to mention some contact information because I know she mentioned that there was going to be donations and they were going to be looking for volunteers. So for volunteers, I believe you're able to sign up via Engagement Zone through your UTRGV account. And if you guys ever want to contact her, obviously for she was bringing up the fact that she wanted to look for students for interviews and also like their testimonies within like menstrual products. So you're able to contact her through kylie.torres01@utrgv.edu and also 956-498-9248.
Yes, and just a quick disclaimer, these contact information were public, right? So we are giving this information with the consent that it's going to be public information. It was on one of her posts. She put her contact information, so just want to make sure we throw that in there. But yeah, so if any student listening wants to volunteer, right, help with the cause, uh, they are allowing volunteers for volunteer hours. So if you need to get your hours up, you can go through Engagement Zone, or you can contact Kylie with the contact information we just gave you all. And you can go ahead and help the cause. Yeah, I think it's a great cause. And Andre, I kind of want to know your thoughts on this, but I kind of like how this started off grassroots, right? It was a student initiative. It wasn't something that was necessarily pushed by a particular organization or even by a department. It was one student who decided that they wanted to see this change take place on campus, and now look where we're at. Would you like to see more students take initiatives to kind of help the university?
Of course, and I'm very happy that this was brought up because actually, when I was a first year intern, when we were doing like our legislations, the one that I wrote was specifically doing a collaboration with IFSO on this. So actually, seeing it come to life is insane, and I'm very happy that someone took initiative of it. Especially, I know we mentioned that the products were already there, but the actual stocking of the products, and I believe she's putting them, from what I read, in like little red bags. So you go into the restroom and then she's putting them in the sink, like towards the little corners. So obviously the products are not going to get damaged. They're not going to get wet. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very happy that this is actually taking place, and especially for the Brownsville campus. I think that's really good just in general.
Yeah, awesome. So shout out to Kylie. If Kylie's listening, or if this somehow gets to her, we'd love to have you on the show, and you can kind of speak more about your initiative. But just really appreciative of the fact that a student went ahead and made that initiative. And speaking of student life, right? So it's even more impressive because students have so much going on. The fact that she was able to take this initiative, it speaks a lot about her. But other students have a lot on their plate. They have, I know finals might be coming up, or, they have other organizations they're a part of, or work, or, things going on in their personal life. So this is actually a perfect segue into I guess, an article that Andrea came across. And I really want to give Andrea the floor here to kind of speak about this article, but it has to do with finding the balance between academic responsibilities and personal life. So, Andrea, you want to go ahead and speak a little bit about this?
Of course. So this morning, through the writer, they posted an article through the Vaquero Voice, and this is what it was titled. And it was very interesting because I was I was actually thinking about it for the past few days. We're already, past midterm season. We're about to enter final season. So they started mentioning, okay, how do you deal with academic stress and also your personal life? We have to keep in mind that, we have student parents here. There are people that are working two jobs. So trying to find that balance. And as I was reading this, something else had come up through KVAQ TV when they were talking about trying to maintain healthy eating during finals. So,
I'm
what-
very guilty of that.
I'm very
I
guilty
go
as
through
well.
like 3 bags of chips a day during final season. So, yeah, I'm guilty of that, definitely. But Andre, I kind of want to get a personal perspective for you. I know you're an SGA, you're in CEO. Of course, you have your academic responsibilities, and you're very involved on campus. So, for you personally, how do you find that balance between like your academic responsibilities and your own personal life?
I think it changes with every month because I have a very unhealthy habit of adding more things to my plate as every week goes on. So by the time it's the end of the week, I'm already overwhelmed. But it's just trying to find those times throughout the day that you're not doing anything. So it could just be like a car ride from, your house all the way to school. Just little breaks in between. If you have those 15 minutes in between each class, you have to take advantage of them. And as we're getting closer to December, I believe finals maybe start in 2 weeks. It kind of depends because I know some students that have a midterm and then a final, or they have three consecutive midterms and then a final. So I don't know which one of the two you kind of like fall into.
I think I have like three consecutive and then a final. So it's yeah,
Oh, that's
it's rough for
horrible.
me out here, but it's part of being a student. I know for me, what I usually do is, like you said, I try to find those little breaks in between, and I kind of just enjoy those breaks as much as I can, and that way I can kind of let it all out. So when I do go back to my academic responsibilities, I'm more focused. But I know, sometimes it's hard to find the balance, and that's why I know almost every episode we do stress if you are having an issue finding that balance, UTRGV does have mental health services. You can always visit their mental health or counseling services and talk to a licensed therapist about these sorts of things. I know me and Andrea are giving our own personal anecdote, but we're not licensed at the end of the day. And so if you are needing that help finding that balance, you can always reach out to the counseling services. Or I know what I've seen is on the UTRGV students chat, they just spill there, right? You can be anonymous. You can choose to be anonymous when you post. And if you need to let it all out, let it all out. The students there on the chat are really quick to support and encourage you to keep moving forward. And sometimes that's all you need. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting seeing how different students handle their academic responsibilities and personal life with finals coming up. But that's something that, if anyone ever needs help or advice, me and Andrea are always here to be there to help. Is there anything else, Andrea, that you notice around campus that you might want to speak about before we go ahead and go into another music break?
Well, actually, to touch on a little bit more about what the newscast had posted, because the writer and the newscast kind of put it more or less around the same time in terms of like academic stress, the personal life, but also like the eating habits that we tend to have. And while this was happening, Barstool UTRGV, which is the new UTRGV account, they kind of posted a reel. It was a little funny because they had mentioned how UTRGV students kind of have like this thing about fork to fit, and also our Chick-fil-A. And I think I put a comment saying, "Yeah, UTRGV students, we have like a tiny bit of a Chick-fil-A addiction, which doesn't help the
Yeah.
the healthy eating on campus." But here's the thing: that is comfort food at the end of the day. You take your finals, and then you're gonna go to the Chick-fil-A at the student union. That's just kind
Usually,
of how it
when I go
works.
to the union, I usually get a pizza, right? Just one pizza, but during finals, I think I'm gonna get two. I mean, I deserve it, right? After getting hey, for me, if I do good on my test, I deserve
You
those two
deserve.
pizzas. So if anyone sees me just chomping down pizzas, I'm okay. I'm fine.
He just got out of a test.
I just got out of a test. But yeah, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and go into another music break. And when we come back, we're going to go over some legislative agendas and a preview into our last Senate meeting for this semester. So there's going to be a lot we got to look forward to. And there are some legislative agendas that we are hoping to push forward, and all that, right, will be revealed when we come back. So thank you all, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. And now we go into another very popular segment we have apparently is the legislative agendas. So, Andrea, I've been speaking to a few of our viewers who, watch the show and stuff, and they actually mentioned that they like hearing our ideas and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool, and I wanted to mention it, that way in case anyone's listening and you have any ideas, we would also love for you to reach out to me and Andrea, and we can definitely work on it. But speaking of that, I do have some legislative updates that I want to go ahead and get into, and one of them has to do with the previously mentioned Week of Valor. So, earlier in the episode, I spoke about how UTRGV has the Week of Valor and how we honor our veterans, and even you, Andrea, spoke about the importance of honoring our veterans. And so, something I really want to do and I have it already written. We just need to get it in our passed in our committee, and then we can go ahead and have it presented to the Senate floor this Friday. Is I want to, well, actually did write, but I wrote a courtesy resolution for our veterans here at UTRGV, and also for the Student Veterans Association at UTRGV as well. I thought, what better way to honor our veterans than on the Week of Valor, right? And so it would be really nice if we're able to get this passed to show our veterans, not only on campus but off campus, that UTRGV's student body recognizes them, and we recognize all the work that they've done and the sacrifice that they've done as well. And so the least that we can do, I think, is a courtesy resolution. I wish I can, I could do more, but for now we only have around 5 days, right? So left in the semester. So I want to get a courtesy resolution, and I know Andrea, you've even sponsored it. Kind of talk to me a little bit about why you decided to sponsor it. I know obviously you are huge on veteran support, but I guess when I presented this to you, what kind of made you want to sponsor it?
Well, to be fair, I don't think it could have come at a better time. So, like we had mentioned during the campus updates in regards to this week and the importance of expressing gratitude, even if you're not a veteran yourself, even if you don't have any family members that are veterans, because quite frankly, I don't, but I know I have friends that have family that do. So, for the Veterans Courtesy Resolution, I thought it was a very good idea. I know we're cutting it really, really close. Ideally, you're able to pass it. You know, I don't know. I'm
Yes.
confident that you
So,
will, but we'll
so
definitely.
just I guess to kind of give some insight, if by next week, I kind of let you know that we didn't pass it, it wasn't, you know, there's a process to getting legislation passed, and we spoke on it before. But for those who aren't familiar, whenever you write a resolution or a legislation, you need to go ahead and submit it to your chair of the Senate, and the chair of the Senate is going to submit it to a standing committee, and that committee must pass it first. So even before it goes in front of the entire Senate, it goes through a smaller standing committee, and the standing committee is what decides whether it moves forward with the Senate or if it should just go away there, right? So right now it is in the committee, so we need to pass a deadline by Wednesday morning to go ahead and get it passed in our committee. So it is a really tight schedule, right? I'm trying my best. I know Andrea is trying her best. So if we don't get it by next week, right? Sorry, but we're trying. We're really trying. But I do know even a co-author, right? I'm not the only author of this resolution. Our co-author is actually Eli Zavala. He is the senator for liberal arts, and he is also a student veteran. So I think it was really nice to have him on there, and I wanted him to be on there. And in fact, I'm going to give a little preview, a spoiler here, if we are able to get it to the Senate floor. Breaking news: if we are to present it, I'm actually going to defer my time to let Eli present it because he's a student veteran. So I think he should be the one presenting it. But I do actually have another legislative agenda. Now, this one, it's going to take a while. It's not going to get done this semester, but I'm working on it hard with Eli. And so I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but I want to create a designated parking spot for veterans on campus. So, what this initiative would look like is we are going to approach UTRGVs, right? The parking and the parking department, and we want to see if they're going to be able to create a designated parking space for veterans only, similar to like a disability parking space, right? to where only people with disabilities are able to access it. I want to do the same thing, but for our veterans, because I think it's really important that our veterans are able to access the facilities that they need. Not only because a lot of veterans are disabled, but there's also something called, and I've spoke with veterans about this, called invisible wounds. And what that is there are accessibility issues that aren't necessarily written down on a piece of paper for a doctor to present, right? But they're still there. And so if we're able to give our veterans a space, a parking space, so they can have easier access to certain facilities, I think that would be amazing. And honestly, it's just a small thing we can do to show our appreciation.
Yeah, and I actually have a question. Have you seen if other universities also implemented this before?
Yeah, so right now that is in the works, and we're researching it. So, to my knowledge, I just got an update on this morning. There are other universities that have followed similar protocols in the sense that they've given designated parking spaces for Purple Heart recipients, or veterans that have, won medals of distinction, medals of honor. And I think that's a great step. And I think UTRGV actually, in the early days, they had something like that. But to my knowledge, since I guess the population that it would serve, if it was just a metal heart recipient, was so few, the university didn't see the necessity for it because it just wasn't serving enough of the student body. However, what me and Eli are working on is getting the statistics on how many veterans there are, not only on the university, but also in the county. That way we can prove that there's going to be a substantial amount of people that this initiative will serve. And I think that will kind of be the deciding factor. And so we're working on other things. Student Veterans Association is working with me on this, putting out surveys, petitions. That way we can show that the student body supports this and that it would serve a good amount of the student body. And I'll keep everyone updated on that. But I do know that's something that's not going to happen overnight. That's going to be a little bit longer of an initiative, but I figured I would give our listeners the first little scoop about it. So I will definitely keep everyone updated as the weeks go by and maybe as the months go by as well. And so, Andrea, do you have any sort of initiatives that you would like to see done as far as legislation?
Not currently, but I know I have sponsored quite a few of your legislations. And going back to the one that you had just mentioned, I am in no way surprised that Eli got involved. If anything, I'm very happy that he's co-authoring it. I haven't spoken to him personally about it, but I know he was very excited about it. One of the things he had mentioned is the what is it, the Student Veterans Association. He kind of wanted to bring it up, highlight it a little bit more about the things that they want to accomplish, and for you to actually put out a resolution for this. And no better week than this week has actually been pretty cool. Again, we're hoping to see more updates on this. I know for our next segment, we are going to have a solid answer for this. So
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
yeah, we'll continue to provide updates even on the courtesy resolution. Um, and so, with that being said, this Friday is our last Senate meeting. Can you believe it, Andrea? It's our last Senate meeting this Friday for the semester. Don't worry, we're not going anywhere. But for the semester, right? Even senators need breaks, and so it's our last Senate meeting for the semester. And so there's a lot to look forward to. Me personally, I'm a little sad. I wish we had more Senate meetings. I know, I'm weird, right? I know half
Yeah,
our
you.
senators would disagree with me, but I like our Senate meetings, and so I'm a little sad to see it go for this semester at least. And but I'm looking forward to seeing how it kind of wraps up. I don't know if there's maybe other legislations that'll be presented just because we only have one Senate meeting left. But I do know it'll be a sad time because it'll be our last Senate meeting for some of our graduating senators. And that might be the last time we see them for a while, right? Unless they decide to pursue a master's or doctorates or,
Or if they want to come visit
yeah,
us
or
every
they
once
just
in
want
a
to
while.
come visit, or maybe they'll come on the show, right? We have no discrimination on past senators or current senators as well. So if you're a former senator, we'd also love to have you as well. And yeah, so we're definitely looking forward to it. What are you looking forward to, Andrea, with this last Senate meeting? And are you sad that it's ending, or are you kind of, I guess, ready to go into next semester?
Both. I mean, it's a little bit of a sad time only because the senators that are going to be leaving the Student Government Association, I got to know some of them pretty personally. So I know for a fact I'm not going to see some of them for a good while. So hopefully, if you happen to be listening, please visit us. We'll be more than happy to help to have you here. And I mean, also a little bit sad that kind of the initiatives will kind of, I guess, take a pause for a while. Obviously, we're not going to be having Senate meetings over Christmas, over these little breaks. So everything kind of has to, settle down a little bit. I know we have to take a break as much as we don't want to, especially you.
Yeah, especially me. But don't worry, I'm still going to be active. I'm going to be monitoring the UTRGV
Oh
students
yeah, we're
chat.
not leaving
Uh,
the FB for sure.
yeah, and even if there's any initiatives or ideas I have, I don't mind writing it during my break, and that way next semester we can even go on a faster start than we did this semester. So yeah, is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to? Maybe I know it's going to be a sad time because some of our senators are leaving, but is there anything you're looking forward to? Maybe just the celebration, maybe
Like
the
just the
end of
celebration. We'll
just
definitely
no.
bring it up during comments and announcements one more time, just congratulating all the people that are going to be graduating, as well as the senators that we won't see until next semester. So for sure, the comments and announcements will be a little full of happy and sad emotions, but that's kind of how things are once you're kind of ending a chapter.
Yeah, so and hopefully I am looking forward to, right? Although it's ending for the semester, I think it's gonna kind of be the start of a new chapter because next semester we're gonna have our interns hopefully coming in the program. We might have new senators that want to get appointed. I know elections are next semester as well, so this is kind of the closing of one chapter, but the opening or the beginning of another, and so we're really looking forward to it. And with that being said, we're gonna go into another music break, and when we come back, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this show up. Maybe give you a preview on what's gonna be happening next episode. But as always, we're gonna go into a quick music break, and we come back, we're gonna do our outro. Welcome back. And as we close this episode of the Vaquero Insider, as always, I do this every single time, but it's become a tradition of mine. But I want to thank the listeners for taking the time out of their day to listen to us. You could have been doing a million other things, right? Studying or listening to another podcast or just moving on, living your life, but you chose to listen to us, and we're really appreciative of it, me and Andrea. And just know that every single one of our listeners, we appreciate you. And just thank you for taking the time to listen to us. And I also want to go ahead and plug our Instagrams and our Facebooks. That way, you all know that you can always reach us, right? For anything student related, that's what we're there for. So, my Instagram account is going to be Senator underscore Skyler, and my Facebook account is going to be Senator.Skyler. And so, if there's anything you need as a student, we're always available. And Andrea, you want to go ahead and give your information as well?
Of course, mine is going to be Senator underscore Andrea Gaitan, and that's going to be for both my Facebook account and also my Senator account on Instagram.
Yes, and if you don't want to personally message us, you can always tag us on the UTRGV Students Facebook. I know it's like the bat signal for us when we get a tag. We're on it as quick as possible, and so we're always here, to help the students, and we'll continue to do this initiative as well. So we're not going anywhere. And Andre, is there anything you want to say to our listeners as we go ahead and wrap up the episode?
Just thanking everybody, and also I know I was getting a few texts before we came on saying, "Oh, like we're actually going to listen." And again, just also big shout out to the interns that said, "I'm going to listen to you guys."
Yes,
They texted me 5 minutes
I
before we
also got
came
a
in here.
text from my friend named Alexis, and he said that he's always looking forward to watching us, and that kind of went ahead, and that always makes me excited to see a student and a friend that's listening, and hopefully we just continue to get more and more listeners as we continue this. And so, with that being said, I'm your host, Senator Skylar Howell, and with my co-host.
Senator Andrea Gaitan,
And this is
the
the
Vaquero
Vaquero
Insider.
Insider. And we'll go ahead and we'll give you guys a update on what's happening next. Of course, UTRGV is always moving, and we'll go into all of that and more on the next episode. See you.